The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Morning, everybody. Happy August. Happy Thursday. An exciting topic today, David and Goliath. And we're going to talk about David and Goliath. Oh, why is my clicker not working here? Hold on one second. Yeah, it's on. There we go. There we go. David and Goliath, as I like to say, the employee benefit story of David and Goliath in modern day. This subject really came from feedback that we've received from numerous brokers that we work with. And it's, how do we compete in today's changing market? How do we compete against the bigger guys? And the bigger guys mean these consolidated groups like Hub, for example. How do we compete against them as an independent advisor? And that's really what our thesis is for today. And we've sort of put a biblical story around it with the story of David and Goliath, or those old, I'm 54 years old, those old Sunday morning cartoons, Davy and Goliath. But anyways, this is the story, and it has to do with employee benefits. And it's how does the little guy, the little independent advisor, and I hate to say little guy, but the independent advisor deal with the big companies that are out there today? And when we were putting this presentation together, it came to the realization it's really all about you. The story is actually written by you. It's not how to compete; it's how you compete with these larger consolidated companies. So what we want to talk about today is really how does the small independent advisor compete in today's changing benefit world? That's what we're going to hear to talk about today. And we want to give you some tools and so you can answer the question and write your story. Really, because it's, again, about you and how you compete. It's not about how we compete. It's about how you compete. And that's really the thesis in a nutshell of our webinar today. So thank you very much for attending. We're going to spend the next hour together. Welcome to the Benefits Trust. If we're doing business together, thank you for your continued business. If we're not doing business together, we'd love to do business with you. We work with brokers like you. We do not sell direct. We work with brokers like you, and we help you to provide great benefit solutions for your end user clients. We're a full-service third-party benefit administration company. We were established on January 1st, 1994, so 25 years ago. And we work, again, with brokers like yourself and helping provide, truly the best-in-class benefit administration services. At the end of the presentation today, you're going to get a CE credit for participating. You're going to be signed up for our Trusted Advisor newsletter, and we encourage you to visit thebenefitstrust.com. As well as that, we're going to send you a very short survey. The survey is going to be 5 or 6 questions or 4 or 5 questions. And on that survey, there's room for feedback on subjects that you'd like to see covered in future webinars. And as a matter of fact, this subject that we're talking about today is how do you compete against these large consulting firms? How do you compete is really something that came from feedback that we've received from you. So continue with that feedback, because we'd love to put together future webinars that are of interest to you. That's for sure. Just to put a voice or a name or a face to the voice, if you would, my name is Robert Crowder. I'm going to be your presenter today. Mike Ignatz is our moderator, and which means he takes care of all of the electronic stuff, as well as answers your question when you type them into the question box. And he'll be chiming in from time to time. Say hello, Mike.
Good morning, everybody.
So there's Mike, and there's a little bit of a picture to the voice. I'm the founder and the benefits. I'm the founder of the Benefits Trust and the president of the Benefits Trust, and I'm excited about the future of selling benefits. That's for darn sure. So when we're talking about benefits, we're talking about light bulbs. And what made me sort of get thinking about this is I've got three sons, and my 25-year-old son moved in with a bunch of his buddies from school, and they moved into a condo in downtown Toronto. And we were walking from a restaurant to his condo, and his condo's on the 19th floor or something. I don't know exactly what floor it's on the 19th floor. And, he's pointing up to his condo and he goes, "Look, Dad, there's my condo. It's the one on the corner up there on the 19th floor. And you can see the lights are on." I go, "Rob, there's lots of condos with lights on, and I can't count 19 floors up, right? I'm going to get dizzy if I do that." And he goes, "Watch, I'll change the color of the lights." So he pulls out his phone and he changes the color of the lights in the living room. And he can do that from his phone from 19 floors down. And when I look at these, new light bulbs, he's going, "You got to get these, Dad. You got to pick these things up. They're great. You can change the color of the lights from your phone." And I'm going, "Well, geez, I don't know if I really have a need for that, but that's kind of interesting." And then I look at, the new LED light bulbs, and I've, we've got these in our home. We've got them all over our home, and it's great because they last, 500,000 hours or something crazy like that. Whether $10 or $11 each, but they last for a long time. And then there's that sort of traditional light bulb that I grew up with that you could buy, 20 of them or packages in that sort of loose cardboard stuff, and you can buy them, and they were easily changed out. And then you got these old historic light bulbs, which are also kind of coming back into vogue. I know we've got a couple of lamps in our dining room where we use these old sort of antique looking light bulbs. So there's all sorts of different light bulbs. And the fact of the matter is different people buy different light bulbs for different reasons from different businesses. My son was talking about those fancy light bulbs that change colors, and he says, "Yeah, Dad, Amazon will drop them off in your office the next day, or you can buy them from Home Depot or specialty lighting stores." So it's kind of neat. When we're thinking about benefits and thinking about the subject, I was thinking about those light bulbs because, the fact of the matter is the marketplace is absolutely enormous. The marketplace is huge. And when we look at the GTA and we look at how bright it is from space and how many light bulbs there are, the marketplace is absolutely enormous. And my point really is it's absolutely enormous for light bulbs and benefits. So the marketplace is super huge, and there's really room for all of us here. So it's just not, hey, the big guys are going to win and we're going to lose, or the small independent guy is going to lose. That's not the case. There's 50,000 businesses, or more than 50,000 businesses with 1 to 100 employees in the 416-905-647 neighborhoods, if you would. And you know what? There's room for all of us. There's room for all of us to compete. So what's going on out there? What is going on out there? And that's really the reason why we're here today, is to talk about this. Why is this a topic of discussion at the benefit advisor bars, as I like to say? When I go to different meetings and so on, a lot of people are nervous. They're nervous about the future. They're nervous about the future with all these mergers going on. They're nervous about the future with pharmacare going on. They're nervous about the future for a whole host of reasons. But, I like the good old days when everybody's in the bar and happy, right? So what's going on out there? And that's what I want to talk about. Well, the big one in the last little while, forget about G19, where it sort of came and reared its ugly head and then left, thanks to Dave Patriarch, which we're going to talk more about in a moment. But he was a big proponent of that and getting that moved. But these mergers and acquisitions and consolidations that are going on, and it's interesting because I was speaking to somebody that is very senior at Hub, and we were on an industry committee telephone call that I'm on, or a committee that I'm on, and this gentleman was on this call with me, and we were just chatting and in the group, and he was talking about that Hub has, I think, about 20 different or a significant number. I don't know the number exactly, but a significant number, certainly more than one and less than 100, but they have a number of active acquisitions that they're seriously looking at right now. So this acquisition and consolidation and merger market is not going to be changing. If anything, it's going to be picking up speed. And you look at what People Corp has done over the last couple of years. You look at what Hub has done over the last couple of years. You look at what NFP has done over the last couple of years. And then you take a step back and you go, hold on a second. Geez, Aon. What's Aon? Aon is just a consolidation of a whole bunch of small independent agencies. Willis Towers Watson, they're just consolidators as well. Morneau Chappelle, consolidators as well. So it's kind of interesting. This has been going on in the recent past, but it's been going on for many, many years as well. And we all still tend to exist. So let's go, take a big sigh of relief, a breath, and take a big sigh of relief, because you know what? This has been going on for years and we're all still here. So the question is, how do we compete with these guys? And that's what it's all about with this beehive of activity in the last few years. But I challenge it and say it's not just been the last few years, it's been many years. So how are we going to compete in this new world? Well, my answer is head on. Simple as that. Just like the biblical story, David and Goliath, right? The answer is really head on. Because as I mentioned, there's room for all of us for light bulbs, and there's room for all of us for benefits as well with those 50,000 plus businesses, in that smaller end of the market. And that's really what we're talking about. It might be difficult to compete head on if you're an independent advisor for groups that have 10,000 employees or more. But if you want to compete head on for groups that have a few employees up to 100 employees, I think there's room for all of us. Excuse me. Recipe to compete to win. And here's the recipe book. It's interesting. Mike, I don't know if you know this, and everybody's listening, and we've got quite a few people on the call today, but recipe books are the #1 seller of category of books. More than fiction, more than adventure, whatever you want to call it. Recipe books are the #1 seller. People buy recipe books. Why? I don't know, but it's easy. Recipe books take what seems to be impossible and overwhelming for some and breaks it down into step-by-step directions and lists the specific ingredients. So it takes something that's really complex and they make it easy. And they put some great pictures around it most of the time. Right? And you're hungry usually when you buy one of these books, right? So when we think about benefits, let's look at a recipe book for success and how to compete head on with Goliath. So let's take what seems to be impossible and overwhelming and break it down into simple step-by-step directions and list the specific ingredients. It's that easy. So today's recipe is, let's talk about the target market, goals, unique deliverable, creative solutions, and then finally, lather, rinse, and repeat. Lather, rinse, and repeat. Simple as that. So, target market, recipe to compete to win. What's your target market? Simple as that. What's your target market? Know your target market. Know why this is your target market. Tell your target market why you are or why they are in your target market. There's something that's really interesting. And this sort of came to fruition for me personally a couple of years ago when I said, hey, you are in my target market and this is the reason why. And they said, oh, good. And I go, wow, I got to remember to tell everybody that. And it was kind of interesting, but it's important to know what your target market is and know what your target market is for specific products that you're selling or solutions that you're selling. You got to know why this is your target market. And then you got to not be afraid to tell people and stand up on a soapbox and tell them why that they are in your target market. In other words, you got to be able to tell people and tell yourself how you can add specific or how you can add value to a specific market segment. If I ask you a question, how can you add value to a specific market segment, or how can you add value to your market segment? You should be able to answer that question. And you should be able to answer that question in a very few words, very directly, and with confidence and conviction. Just like David stood up against Goliath, confidence and conviction. So how can you add value to a specific target market? What to consider when defining your target market, I think is critical. I just listed a couple of things here, but common interests. Size of business is one. I want to deal with businesses that are 10 to 100 employees or 10 to 50 employees or less than 50 employees. Years in business. I only want to deal with second or third generation companies, or I only want to deal with new startup companies. Numbers of employees. I want to deal with certain numbers of employees. Etc. Ownership. I only want to deal with foreign ownership, or I want to deal with domestic ownership, or I only want to deal with owners that are passive in their business, or I only want to deal with owners that are very active in their business. Geographic restrictions. I want to deal with all the businesses on Matheson Boulevard in Mississauga. I want to be the Matheson Boulevard benefit guy. Or I only want to deal in Southern and Central Ontario, or whatever your geographic restrictions are. Business philosophy. I want to deal with companies that really care about their employees and are engaged and with their employees. Or I only want to deal with union businesses, or I only want to deal with businesses that, for example, that really hate their employees and don't care about their employees, and I want to provide them a benefit solution. Social responsibility. I only want to deal with green companies. I only want to deal with companies that give back in some way, shape, or form because we give back. That's part of our philosophy. For example, these are all characteristics of developing your target market, was being able to answer these types of very specific questions. So I always like to lead with an example as well. Our target market is profitable entrepreneurial companies where the owners are active in the growth of their business, and it's located in southern and central Ontario between 1 and 100 employees. So it's very specific. I only want to deal, I want to deal 80% of my time or more with, again, those entrepreneurial company where the owner's active in the business, and they're located in southern and central Ontario between 1 and 100 employees. We work with brokers like you, and we get really excited about companies that fit this category. Simple as that. So why? Why have we defined this as our target market? Well, growth oriented. Great. Their future is going to be bigger than their past. Simple as that. You get to meet with the decision maker. I was with a broker yesterday and we were out to see a client, and it was great because the meeting, although the meeting did last probably about 45 minutes, which is a little longer than normal, but it lasted about 45 minutes. But we were meeting with the decision maker. The decision maker is active in their business. It's growth oriented. She's not leaving anytime soon. And you get decisions made. The other thing is, I want to deal in southern and central Ontario because I can drive there in a day. I don't like flying. I don't like flying. I shouldn't say I don't like flying. I don't mind flying. I just don't like flying for business reasons. I like to drive. I like to drive for business. I want to fly for personal reasons. The other thing is they're like-minded. Business owners are like-minded. I'm a business owner. They're business owners. You're a business owner. We're all like-minded. I think that's important, as opposed to an employee of a foreign-owned company. Not the same. And as I like to say, unlimited market. There's 50,000 plus businesses in this marketplace, and it's really an unlimited market. Simple as that. Hate flying. Hate flying for business purposes. I don't mind flying occasionally for personal reasons, but I hate flying. I like driving. Clear your head. Get your thoughts right. You can answer telephone calls. You can use your time wisely. More wisely, I think, on a highway than you can, as opposed to an airplane. Common ground. We've got thousands upon thousands of clients in this space, and I'm a business owner and I'm an expert. I've been doing this for 31 years. Actually 2 days from now, Saturday, it's my anniversary, August 17th. 31 years. I've been licensed life insurance agent. But the common ground, I've been doing this for 30 years or over 30 years now, or soon to be 31 years, and I consider myself an expert. That's what it is. Well, arrogant. Yep, arrogant as hell. But you know what? Who's going to argue? Arrogance is good from time to time and in moderation. But my point is, the tighter you define your target market, the bigger the market is. So my market's very specific, and it's also very big because you know who you need to deal with and who you don't need to deal with. But the real point is, when you've got that target market and you know who it is that you're going to talk to and what you're going to talk to them about, you got to be the expert. You got to be the expert in that market, not one size fits all. You're going to be the expert in that particular market and tell people you're the expert. I have no problem sitting in front of a client and telling them that I'm an expert in this particular target market. How are they going to argue? Again, it's arrogant as shit, but you know what? How are they going to argue? I'm the expert. They go, good, I'm dealing with an expert. Super. If you're going in for dental surgery because you've got an impacted tooth and you're going to see a neurologist and he says, yeah, well, it has to do with your head, so I'm not really an expert in that market, but I'm pretty good with things around the head, so I should be able to figure it out. You're probably going to walk out the door, right? You want to deal with an expert that deals with impacted teeth, not someone that works in the area, right? So be the expert in your target market. How to compete? Tip number 1. Know your target market, write it down, share it with your peers, share it with your centers of influence, share it with your clients and prospects. Let them know that you are the expert in your target market and how you can add value for those who qualify. Make it a qualifying statement. You know what, Mike, you're not in my target market. I can't add any value to you, and you don't qualify for what I do. Oh, okay, geez. I want to qualify for that club. How do I do that? Right? So it's really interesting. I want you to become the expert and tell people and stand on your soapbox and sing from the top of your lungs about how you can add value in that particular target market. Recipe to compete to win: goals. Item number 2, goals. This is something that I'm also very passionate about. What's your goal? It's interesting. We talk the insurance industry participants talk an awful lot about goals. We talk a bit less about goals than we used to when I first started many years ago, when in that agency setting. But what is your goal? Everybody's got goals. The goal might be, to get through the week, which is a terrible goal. The goal, in my opinion, the goal might be to, increase your business by $5 million a year. Great. The goal might be to get one new client. Awesome. The goal might be to get someone to agree to a meeting on this particular phone call. But what are your goals? And you've got to have a number of them, I think. And what I'd like to say is the only difference between a goal and a dream is a deadline. Simple as that. The only difference between a goal and a dream is a deadline. Have goals. There we go. Have goals, write them down, share them, review them, change them, and celebrate them. And I like to say have, short-term goals, medium-term goals, and long-term goals. Have goals, write them down, share them, I think is critical, because when you think about something and then you write it down, you're more committed. When you share them, you're more committed. When you review them on a regular basis, you're still engaged. You can change them, but I think an important thing is to celebrate them as well. Celebrate those wins. So when you look at goals, is your goal specific? Is your goal measurable? Do you have an action plan in place for that goal? Is your goal realistic? Do you have a time limit? These are things that you need to make your goals very specific. Simple as that, the SMART process, if you would. So make your goal really specific, measurable, have an action plan in place, make sure it's realistic, and make sure there's a time limit. Don't wake up on January 1st and say, yeah, I think my goal is this year to write $30 million worth of new premium on 5 life group insurance accounts and become the prime minister. Yeah, there's my goal this year. Yeah, that's really not going to, that's not really realistic for a lot of people. But when we think about goals, we think about a number of things, but this is just something that I've looked at for years. They can be very simple and measurable. But this is what hospitals have been using for years. Hospitals are continually raising money, and they're looking at different goals that they've got. And you see this thermometer out in front of a hospital on a big billboard, and they often update it. And we're close to our goal. We need more help, close to our goal. But you see it. This is something that you can look at every single day when you drive by, for example, or the CFO of the hospital can look at it every single day when he or she goes into work. And it's interesting is how closely do you look at your goals? And I've been going to the strategic coach every 90 days for the past 30 years. So I look at my goals. Every 90 days. Actually, I look at my goals every 90 days and I revisit them. And those are short, medium, and long-term goals. But as well as that, I look at our financial results, which is part of our goals every single month. And I look at them in detail. So it's interesting. And the question is, what is it that you do to look at your goals? And goals are important. And again, I've been doing this for the strategic coach for 30 years, and it's been a huge benefit to me, but you got to find out what works for you. So here's an example of a very specific goal when it comes to, for example, group insurance. When I put this presentation together earlier in the year, by 12/31/19, so the end of this year, I want to have 20 new group clients with $60,000 in annual revenue. So 20 new group clients with $60,000 in annual revenue. Okay, well, that's great by the end of the year. How am I going to do that? Well, let's think about this for a moment. Let's break it down. 20 life case, average premium per person is about $3,000. Forget about single family, just total number of lives in the case divided by total premium. And average is about $3,000 a person. That's what it is in our block, certainly. So that works out to about $60,000 in annual premium. So a 20 life case is $60,000 in annual premium. Easy to get a 5% average commission. Some you're going to get more, some you're going to get less, given the circumstances. But an average of 5% commission, that means you are making about $3,000 in commission per case. So 20 cases, $60,000 in annual revenue. Okay, so that makes sense. That's attainable. It's specific. I need to get 20 cases with an average of about 20 lives in each case, and I want to get $60,000 in annual revenue. Now, if I get 25 cases and I hit $58,000, that's pretty good. If I hit 18 cases and $65,000, that's great. This is approximate, but really what I'm focused on in this particular goal is 20 cases, $60,000 in annual revenue. So those are the goals. I got to get 20 new group clients and $60,000 in annual revenue by December 31st, 2019. Let's break that down even further. All right, well, 20 new clients, That means I got to get an average of 2 per month, right? Call it 10 months of the year because, there's a month off for Christmas holidays or the holiday time around mid-December to mid-January. And then, around this time in the summer, often people are not interested in talking about benefits per se. So let's call it 20 new clients, 2 per month. I got about a 10% close rate because I'm not very good at what I do, right? But 10% close rate isn't bad. I'm happy with it. That means I need to have 20 meetings per month to get to 2 yeses. I got to have 18 no's and 2 yeses. Okay, 20 meetings per month. Now, how am I going to get 20 meetings per month? That's 5 per week. Okay, because I work there's 4 weeks in a month. I need to have 5 meetings per week, and I have a 10% close call rate. Okay, so everybody that I talk to, I get I get 9 no's and 1 yes. So that means I have to make 50 calls per week. Well, that sounds a little daunting, but when you break it down even further, that's 5 or 10 calls a day. All I have to do to get $60,000 in new revenue is make 10 calls a day. So by 12/31/19, all I have to do is make 5 calls in the morning and 5 calls in the afternoon every single day while I'm working to make $60,000 a year in annual revenue. 10 calls per day to reach this goal versus 2 cases, versus close 2 cases. Closing 2 cases can be overwhelming. But when you break it down, geez, all you got to do is make 5 calls in the morning and 5 calls in the afternoon. Hey, Mike, can you do that?
I can do that.
Yep. Can you do, when you break it down, all of a sudden, I got to create $60,000 or more new revenue. I don't even know where to start. Great. 5 calls in the morning, 5 calls in the afternoon. That's what I have to do religiously. That's it. Simple as that. So the question is, what are your goals? What are your goals? Who have you told? How often do you look at them? And I remember when I was a Great West Life agent in their agency on Consumers Road in Toronto, I just remember very early on, we had an agency meeting and there was a lady that stood up and she was successful and she was talking about how she gained success in her early career. And she just said, I have 10 meetings a week. 10 meetings a week. That's what I have. I'm not allowed to slow down until I have 10 meetings a week. So that's something that I said to myself, I'm going to do that. I'm just going to have 10 meetings a week. And that was my goal for about the first probably 20 of my 30 years or 25 of my 30 years. I always focused on having 10 meetings a week. If I was frustrated, it's because I didn't have enough meetings. If I wasn't making enough money, it's because I didn't have enough meetings. So the question is, what are your goals and who have you told? What do I need to do to reach my goal? Or, sorry, let me repeat that. Did I do what I need to do to reach my goal? Did I make those 5 calls in the morning or 5 calls in the afternoon? And it was interesting, back to my frustrations. If I was frustrated because I wasn't reaching my goals, I look back at my calendar and I go, yeah, you know what? I'm only having an average of 5 meetings a week. I need to kick this up a notch. How many meetings a week are you having? How many questions or how many times are you asking people to buy? Have a goal. And your goal could be very simple. 5 calls a day, 5 calls in the morning, 5 calls in the afternoon. Ask yourself that question at the end of the day or the end of the week. Did I do what I need to do? Did I mark it down? Did I write it down? 10 calls a day. Simple. How to compete. Tip number 2. Measurable goals or directions on your roadmap. Measurable goals or directions on your roadmap. In a couple of weeks, I'm leaving and I am driving with my youngest son, and we're leaving from Huntsville, Ontario, and we're driving from Huntsville to Squamish, British Columbia, which is just north of Vancouver. We're driving across the country because my son is going to be going to university in Squamish, and we're going to drive across and I'm going to fly back. And it's interesting, Ontario takes you about 24 hours to get to, from Huntsville to Kenora because it's such a big province and there's lots of roads and so on. If I don't have a roadmap, if I don't know where I'm going, I'm never going to get there, right? Use your GPS. Goals are just your GPS. Goals are just where you are going. If you don't know where you're going, you're never going to get there. If you don't have those goals, if I'm not driving from Toronto or Huntsville, to Squamish, British Columbia, I might end up in Kentucky. But, I don't know where I'm going, so I don't even know if I'll ever get there. But now I know where I'm going. That's what goals do. Recipe to compete to win. Have a unique deliverable. What separates you from the rest? Now, again, this is a unique deliverable, unique to you. So what is it that separates you from the rest? How can you add value in this particular target market that we're talking about? But what separates you from the next guy? What separates you from the next guy? the New World competition is really kind of showing you their hand. Hub is saying, hey, you want to deal with us because we've got access to all the markets and we're super big and we've got offices across the country and we have 3,000 of these and 44 million of those. And they've shown you their market. They're talking about how big they are. And is that necessarily better? Not necessarily, but they've shown you their hand. So how do you separate yourself from them? Well, look at this cookie. Here's an average cookie. Straightforward, average cookie. You can buy these things in bulk at the supermarket. They've been selling them in the supermarket for years. You can buy them in a big bag at Costco. But what makes the cookies unique? Separate yourself from everybody else. You know, if you compete with everybody else, you're saying, hey, I can get you this cookie for 15 cents. And then if you buy 100 of them, I can get them for you for 12 cents. And if you buy 1,000 of them, I can get that cost down to 9 cents per unit. Excellent. Well, you don't want to compete with everybody else. You don't want to compete with Costco. And you know what? Thelma didn't want to compete with Costco either. She didn't. So she created a unique deliverable for her cookies. And isn't this cool? It's just, this pretend little oven, which is just a corrugated box, but it's unique packaging. Thelma's cookies. Instead of selling them for 15 cents each, she's probably selling them for $15 a dozen. I don't know. It's been a while since I've been on her website. It's somewhere in the United States. But think about it. If I'm coming to your house for a dinner party and I want to bring something and there's a bunch of kids running around and I want to bring some cookies, guess what? I might bring a cool box like this because it's a neat gift. And you know what? It looks good. And the kids can play with the box afterwards and they can pretend they're baking the cookies and this is something unique. This is a unique deliverable. Thelma's selling the same 15-cent cookie, but she's selling it for a huge profit because she's got a unique deliverable. That's just an example. What's your unique deliverable? Well, Dave Patriarch, I was talking to him just this week, and he ran a seminar yesterday, a workshop yesterday, sold out, 40 people. He has done this workshop numerous times in Toronto. He's doing it in Vancouver and in Alberta later on this year, I believe, or is it? No, early next year, pardon me, in March, because we were talking about going skiing. Anyways, Dave runs this webinar or this workshop, pardon me, on building his own checklist. If you're not a member of CGIB, you should be. Join it. But Dave Patriarch has created this, this administrator's checklist. Lots of people have tried to create their own checklist, and it's something those that have done it have had a great deal of success. So the question is, do you have one of your own, and is it branded? You got to make sure it's one of your own. That's your unique deliverable, and brand it according to what your requirements are and your needs are. Excuse me. Benefits Trust. The Board of Trade in Metropolitan Toronto does a benefit survey every year. $500 is what it costs. Go to the board if you're dealing in southern and central Ontario. Go to the Board of Trade of Toronto, click on their website, fish around in there and find out where they have the compensation surveys. Buy the benefit survey. If you're not a member of the Board of Trade, it's, I think, $500 or just under $500. This is going to be the foundation for creating an independent benchmarking report that you can brand and you can call your own. It's the best $500 you'll spend a year. Create a risk mitigation audit report. You're talking about risk mitigation in a benefit plan. Where are the risks? You want to reduce the risk, transfer the risk, accept the risk, avoid the risk. A lot of business owners don't know what risk is when it comes to benefits. They don't know where they're exposed. Create a risk mitigation audit report. Name it, brand it, call it your own. Create something and show it to them. Collage. Collage is a great company. Check out Collage. They've got an advisor-branded digital enrollment platform through their client technology marketplace. You can brand something by using and partnering with your friends at Collage, right? And you can create this advisor-branded digital enrollment platform for your group benefits clients. You want to separate yourself from everybody else? Do it. Separate it. Talk to the friends at Collage. Right, HR services. A lot of people are connecting with HR companies and providing that to their clients, especially smaller clients where they may not have the luxury of having a full-on HR department. We use Connect Us HR, and every one of our clients has an opportunity to participate with quite a few hundred templates that they use, so they can be a remote HR department. This is one of my favorites as well, a monthly dashboard management report. And it's interesting. What your client sees is just a pile of numbers like they see on the left-hand side. They look at you and they go, I don't understand these numbers. I don't understand these numbers. And they don't understand them. And they're usually after the fact. It's usually after the year has gone by and you're predicting the next year and what the costs are going to be. That's what a client sees. They don't really get it. A lot of times they don't get it. Show them a simple report and show it to them on a regular basis. And, financial dashboard management, if you would, is a very powerful tool, and a lot of businesses use it in different ways. But ask the client what they want on their monthly dashboard management report and then create it for them. And it's just a simple report that you send to them on a regular basis that says, hey, here's how you're doing. And it can, when you think about driving your car, there's a number of, the technology in cars today is extraordinary, but there's just a number of things that pop up on your screen. The speed you're going is the first one, the distance to empty, how your engine is performing with respect to, it's not overheating, all sorts of different things. But that's just, right in front of you every time you get in your car. Well, that can be the same thing for your client's perspective with respect to their benefit plan. You create that monthly dashboard management report, a simple bar chart. Hey, here's where we are in relation to your budget. Terrific. Awesome. But the key thing is to create your branded unique deliverable. What is your branded unique deliverable that a client sees, and they see it on a regular basis, whether it be monthly or whether it be quarterly or whether it be semi-annually or annually. But you create that branded deliverable that they go, hey, this is great, and this is value that I'm getting from my broker. This is the value that I'm getting from my advisor. This is the value I'm getting from my consultant. This is the value I'm getting from this hands-on boutique type of approach as opposed to dealing with one of these big, giant merged firms. This is the value that I'm creating. As I like to say, show off. You want to, because we've already talked about you being arrogant. So now it's about showing off. Let's show off. It's as simple as that. Thelma's showing off right here. She's showing off her 15-cent cookies and charging $15. That's what Thelma's doing. She's showing off with her 15-cent cookies and selling them for $15. Think about Thelma's cookies. How to compete. Tip number 3 in our webinar today. Create client retention and prospecting. Create, deliver, and maintain a creative, valuable tool that your clients can use to make their futures bigger than their pasts, and that separates you from the competition. As simple as that. Create, deliver, and maintain this tool. Brand it. Make it your own. All right, as we're flying along here to get out of town or get out of here by 11 o'clock, as I promised, let's go on to number 4. Recipe to compete to win. Creative solutions. Creative solutions. We help successful business owners build a better benefit plan than they can get anywhere else. That's our elevator speech. That's how we sign up, or that's on the header of our website. Is that what you call it, Mike? The header on our website?
Yes.
So that's our elevator speech, as I like to say, when someone's when I'm sitting beside someone on an airplane traveling to Whistler to go skiing, they say, hey, what do you do? I go, we help. I don't say we sell group insurance or I sell employee benefit programs or I'm the president of the Benefits Trust. I go, no. Anybody that ever asks, I say, we help successful business owners build a better benefit plan than they can get anywhere else. That's what it is that we do. Our process is very simple, and you can break it down and draw a picture, and I can draw this picture, and I have thousands of times on whether it be the back of a napkin or a loose leaf sheet of paper or on the side of a box. It doesn't really matter. You can draw this picture and you can show them what it is that you do very, very quickly and very straightforward. And again, this is just about creative solutions. I'm just showing you ways that we've done what we do. So, you can do it as well, but also just to give you an illustration on how you can show clients creative solutions in one simple page, in one simple way. So we've got a statement. Again, we help successful business owners build a better benefit plan than they can anywhere else. We got a picture, triangle, money in, money out. We've got an illustration here, if you would. A lot more on this page, but people look at different things for different reasons. Everybody's got a risk line in their life, and I got this big risk line in red, and everybody's got this big risk line. And you've got a risk line in your personal life. Mike, you've got a risk line.
Absolutely.
Everybody's got a risk line. And the risk line, is different for different things, but a business has a risk line in it for sure. And when they look at a benefit plan as a promise between an employer and an employee, you say, hey, Mr. Client, where's your risk line? Which is another great question to ask. And they go, what are you talking about? Well, if you needed to write a check for something today, how much of a check could you write without it really being that much of a problem? That's a risk line. Yeah, I could easily write a $5,000 check without, worrying about it. I could write a $10,000 check without worrying about it. Okay, great. So let's talk about that. In your benefit plan, you've got elements of insurance and life insurance, long-term disability, out-of-country emergency travel coverage, accidental death and dismemberment insurance, critical illness insurance, extended health claims over $5,000 or $7,500 or $10,000. These are really high cost, low frequency promises that you are making to your client or to your employees, pardon me. High cost, low frequency promises. And the client looks at you and go, yeah, for example, you're making somebody a promise that if they die, their named beneficiary is going to receive, for example, $50,000 or $150,000, whatever the number is. But that's a high cost. If you're making someone a promise that you're going to give their named beneficiary $100,000, yeah, that's a big number. That's over your risk line. So we need to buy insurance for those items that could potentially happen that are very high cost, but they happen in very low frequency. So those are really the things that require insurance, and those are covered. We can easily get that insurance in place for the promise that you're offering, and that's where you also see low inflation. Below that risk line are the opposite of the high cost, low frequency items. It's more the low cost, high frequency items. So for example, a thing like a trip to the dentist, extended healthcare claims under $5,000, for example, short-term disability and salary continuation programs. That really is not insurance. It's really just administration services, and it's really just bill payments. Those are low-cost, high-frequency promises. A lot of clients see this and they go, yeah, this makes sense to me. I get it. And they go, yeah, this makes sense to me. I get it. And they look at that and they go, oh, cool. How do you do that? We help successful business owners build a better benefit plan than they can anywhere else. Well, see, you've had too much coffee. But the question, the next logical question is, how do you do that? And depending on where I am and who they are, I'll draw a picture like this, or I'll draw a picture like this. And what does it do? It gets their head nodding. Yep, understand, totally get it. Then we're going to send a financial statement to you on every single month that says, here's how much money came in, here's how much money went out, down to every single penny, so there aren't any surprises. This is a unique deliverable. It's branded. Happens every single month. It goes to the end user client and it goes to you, right? So what this process does for you is it allows you to walk into a new prospect's office and you can say, what do you want to promise your employees? Let's create a plan here. Oh, you don't want to offer life insurance? Terrific. You don't have to. Great. You want to create a hybrid plan? Super. We can do that. Right? It gives you that blank canvas as opposed to saying, hey, you're a 10-life company. Here's what your plan looks like. And here's the price. Take it or leave it. So a great question to ask, besides what is your risk line? You should make sure that's on the other list, that 101 sales questions. What are the groups within your group? So here's what is that? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Here's a, 10, 11, 15 person company. And I love asking the question to when I'm out with brokers and meeting with clients is, what are the groups within your group, Mrs. Prospect? And they look at you like you got two heads and you go, no, hold on a second. Let's look at the groups within your group. Let's look at your organization. So here's this young lady that is got a terrific idea and she's well educated and knows what she's doing. And she's got this great business going. And then, as we move around the clock at 3 o'clock to the right, we've got 5 salespeople. They've got a unique skill set. They're highly motivated, highly energized, and they've got very different benefit needs potentially than the owner. And then you've got the people that are actually outdoing, I'm choking here, outdoing the work. And those are the guys that are executing what the sales department has done. And they're providing that deliverable. They're doing that work. And they might have a highly skilled, specific skill set that is not duplicated easily. They might require licenses, but they're very different than the salespeople. Then you've got Sheldon over here at 7 o'clock, Sheldon Cooper from The Big Bang Theory. He's your research and development person. who again has a very different skill set than the people that are delivering the work or the people that are selling the work. And then you got the marketing department that's out promoting your business. And they might be university students, or they might be an agency that you hire, or they might be full-time employees. It doesn't really matter. But there's very different, distinct groups within the group. And what's going to motivate the salespeople may not motivate the guys that are up there doing the work that can get a job with Ontario Hydro in the next week. So what type of benefits and what type of promise do you want to make these different groups within the group? And it gives you the opportunity to create a benefit plan that makes sense for that company. So you can set it up by benefits by class, executive benefits, hybrid plans, specialty insurance, healthcare spending account, custom design plans, etc. And yes, we're talking about groups with 1 to 100 employees. Change the conversation from price to value. This is what this is all about, is changing the conversation from price to value. As I like to say, freedom of choice for the client and freedom of choice to create. So it's freedom of choice for the client and freedom to create. So you're giving them the opportunity, you're giving the client the opportunity to create what makes sense for them and their business. So compete to win, tip number 4. Custom benefit solutions are extraordinarily difficult to replace. As simple as that. Custom benefit solutions are extraordinarily difficult to replace. If you have a Great West Life Select Pack plan, easy to replace. If you have a, what are the Manulife plans called, Mike?
Launch plan?
Yeah, I don't know. The Manulife plans, the Empire Life plans. And if all the vice presidents or group insurance were in the room here, I'd say the exact same thing. But custom benefit solutions are extraordinarily difficult to replace. So for example, we have a client that has a healthcare spending account component as part of their benefit plan. The healthcare spending account amount is 3% of their January 1st earnings. No insurance company can duplicate that at this point. Custom benefit solutions are extraordinarily difficult to replace. You can't take a custom-made suit back to the store. The purchasing decision is made before you actually get the suit. Think about it. You can't take a custom-made suit back to the store. Number 5, a recipe to compete to win. Lather, rinse, and repeat. Lather, rinse, and repeat. Keep moving forward. Most people stop. Keep moving forward. You know, some advisors just stop what they're doing. It's amazing. Oh, I can't compete. I'm going to roll over and play dead. Yeah, put your paws up in the air, roll on your back. Okay, bad thing, come and swallow me up. Yep, simple as that. It's just not working anymore. It's just an excuse. I can't compete against these big guys. They're huge and they've got really cool systems and really cool branded stuff. I just can't compete against these big guys. I'm saying you can. You can compete head on. It's going to require some work, but you got to do it. I was at a session a while ago, and it was in January, and there's a group of brokers sitting around the table, and I said, what are your sales goals for the next year? And it was really disturbing. Whether they were telling me the truth or not, I don't know, but they didn't have sales goals. Their sales goal was just to maintain their existing clients. Sad. You got to keep going. Keep going and try new things. You want to compete? Keep going and try new things. Find out what works for you. If a budget, a benchmarking report doesn't work for you, try the checklist that and it's easy to go to one of Dave's webinars or seminars or workshops to find out about it. If that doesn't work for you, try to create a risk audit report. Do something, create something, have goals, be specific, have that target market. Keep going and try new things. Revise your target market. You know what? This big stuff isn't really working out for me, so I'm going to bring my target market down to 10 to 50 lives, and I'm going to tell people about it. I'm going to stand on the soapbox and tell why I'm the expert in that particular marketplace. Revise your target market. Have different target markets for different products that you're selling. Right? Revise your goals. Make your goals very specific, or revisit your goals. Make your goals very specific. Have them timeline deadlines on them. Make them specific. Right? Create new value, and you create a new value-added deliverable. As simple as that, just like we talked about. Try a custom solution with a prospect. You can't take back that custom-made suit. Well, you know what? Things happen. You're either going to keep moving or you're going to die. Things happen. You keep moving or you're going to die. As simple as that. Like a shark. A shark just doesn't really stop swimming and call it quits for a little while. They got to keep moving or they die. Right? So keep moving, and you might as well move in a direction that makes sense for you. Success is the sum of all small efforts repeated day in and day out. When you think about that, what are you doing day in and day out? Are you making those 5 calls a day? 5 calls in the morning. Did I make those 5 calls in the morning? I'm going to make those 5 calls from 9 until 9:15 or 9 until 9:30. And I'm going to make those calls from 4 until 4:30. I can't leave until I've made those calls. Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. As simple as that. So compete to win. Tip number 5 as we're wrapping things up here. Action is required. Guess what? It's go time. Action is required. Create your own future. Don't just sit back and say, oh, my future is going to be crap because, the big guys, everybody's getting swallowed up by the big guys. And, there's national Medicare coming into play. And, woe is me. And the life is crap. Well, okay, well, knock your socks off, right? Terrific. I'm going to create my own future. I'm going to draw my own picture. I'm going to keep moving. That's what it's all about. So how do you compete to win? Quite simple. Know your target market, have measurable time-sensitive goals, have unique deliverables that are branded, have the ability to sell creative solutions, and never stop, keep moving. Simple as that. So as the story goes with David and Goliath, the small guy took on the big guy, and it's, a biblical story. I don't remember it that closely, but you can sort of get the gist of it. The little guy took on the big guy, and because the big guy was too busy or too slow turning around or looked mighty and fierce, but the little guy, King David, wasn't he a king? King David took on, the big warrior and, knocked him down and cut off his head. You can do it. And a real live example of that is how Dave Patriarch, an independent advisor from Mainstay Benefits, he's an awesome guy. Dave took on the insurance industry, among other people that took on the insurance industry, and had a significant influence. This is an independent broker that sells 3 to 30 life cases in southern and central Ontario. That's his target market. And he took on the insurance industry, the CLHIA, and got them to back down from G19. That's a real live story, and that's alive and well here today. How do you take on the competition? Head on. Come on in. We're open. We're open for business. The Benefits Trust just celebrated its 25th year of being in business this year. We're excited about that. But guess what? We're more excited about the next 25 years. We're open for business. Reach out and say hello. We're going to reach out to you and say hello. Remember, we help successful business owners build a better benefit plan than they can get anywhere else. As simple as that. We help successful business owners build a better benefit plan than they can get anywhere else. Give us a call. Give us a try. If we're doing business, again, thank you for your continued business, and we look forward to doing more in the future. If we're not doing business, we would love to do business with you. We're going to reach out to you. You reach out to us as well. We'd love to talk about different things that we do. We encourage you to visit our website, thebenefitstrust.com. Lots of other webinars coming up. We're going to announce our webinar series for the fall very shortly, so keep on checking back for those dates. Go to the Trusted Advisor or the Advisor Resource Center. There's a number of tools in there that you can use. As well as that, we encourage you to look at our videos and use our videos as well to your need. You're going to get the Trusted Advisor newsletter by signing up for today, so thank you. You're also going to get a CE credit for participating in a very short survey, and part of that survey is feedback so we can do it better tomorrow than we did it today. And in addition to that, we're going to ask you what future subjects you'd like to see covered under webinars. Take a moment, fill it out, send it to us. We really appreciate that and appreciate your feedback. Thanks for your time. And again, don't forget thebenefitstrust.com. Have a visit. It's awesome. So we want to thank you very much for your time. And we want to wish you much success in the future of reaching your goals. And again, goals are nothing to be taken lightly. Have goals, write down your goals, share your goals, revisit your goals. And that's really the key for success in your future. All the best. Thanks for your time. Look forward to speaking with you soon. Bye for now.